First thing you do,
Introduce yourself.
first name and last name. Secondly,
Let them know what you're going to be talking about.
my name is Otto Gross. I'm the director of Pohanka University. Today what I want to do is talk to you about the sales process, the Pohanka sales process. Sales process consists of 11 steps. The greeting, the needs analysis, the brand value story, the vehicle selection, vehicle presentation, the vehicle evaluation. Under vehicle evaluation, I've got 3 bullet points: cash is king, trial close, and the third one is the facility tour. After that, the active trade appraisal, ask for the sale, intro to FI&L, financial insurance and leasing, the delivery, the follow-up, and the follow-through. Now, let's talk about the first step, the greeting. The goal of the greeting is twofold. First goal is to put my guests at ease and transition them into the showroom for needs analysis. My transition tool is OBP. O stands for overview, B stands for benefit, the P stands for permission. Once I greet them and I put them at ease, I'm also going to find out if they have a car that they'll be selling us. If they're selling us a car, then I'll walk over to the car with them. What I'm doing is I'm looking for some identifiers, things that I can begin to forge a relationship, to bond with the guest. If they don't have a trade-in, I'll transition them in. When I bring them in and I sit down with them, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a phone call. My phone call will sound something like this. Hi, this is Otto Gross. Please hold all my calls. I'm sitting with Mr. John Doe. Hang up the phone. What I'm doing is I'm letting my guests know that I'm going to give them my undivided attention. Now, that also activates my sales manager to become airborne and not chairborne. Now, the next step in the process is to find out what my guest needs, find out what my guest wants. Now, realize in face-to-face communication that there are 3 things that impact a person: body language, which is 55%, tonality, which is 38%, and the words we use, which are 7%. When I'm sitting down, I'm able to activate all 3 of those motives of communication. Now, I'm going to find out what my guest needs, find out what they want. I'm going to pay particular attention to my guests because they'll tell me what I need to know to earn their business. I'm listening for hot buttons. When I talk about hot buttons, I'm talking about buying motives. My acronym is SPACE in cars. SPACE simply means safety, performance, appearance, comfort, economics, and development and dependability. On the car side, the U stands for utilitarian purposes. So now, once I've done a completed needs analysis, I know what they want, I know what they're interested in, and I bonded with them, I found out who they are a little. The next step in the process is the brand value story. When we talk about brand value story, or the why buy here story, there are 4 components. The OEM, which is the original equipment manufacturer; the parent company, which is Pohanka Automotive Group; the local company, which is Pohanka Honda of Chantilly, or Pohanka Acura, Pohanka Chevrolet; and then there's me. Now, in terms of the brand value story, facts tell, stories sell, but stories also connect. They were kind enough to share with me who they were, so I share a little bit about who we are. Now, after I've shared with them my brand value story, before I get up, I'm going to get their license, because nobody drives one of our cars without a valid driver's license. The first thing I'm going to do when I get their license is I want to make sure it's them. Now that I have their driver's license and I know that it's them, I'm going to get the address. I'll verify that it is the current address and that it is valid. Now I'm ready for the next step, which is vehicle selection. In the vehicle selection, when we talk about vehicle selection, there are 3 categories. There's a great car, and the great car is the must-have. Then there's a greater car, the must-have plus some nice-to-have. And then there's the greatest car. The greatest car has all the bells and whistles. The one I'm going to start with is the great car. The reason I start there is because it's easy to go up. It's hard coming back down. Now, the only time I would start with the greatest car is when that's what they ask for. So now, after vehicle selection, the next step is vehicle presentation. During this step, my goal is to tap into those hot buttons so that I can build value. Value in the process and value in the product. Because here's what I know, when price is greater than value, 1 out of 10 people buy. When price is equal to value, 2 out of 10 people buy. But when value exceeds price, 8 out of 10 people buy. So my goal in this step is to build value. After the vehicle presentation, the next step is vehicle evaluation. I'm going to let them experience the car, because here's what I know half the deal is the feel of the wheel. So I want them to experience the ride, but I'm the one who drives first. The reason why I drive first is because I want to build that suspension, build that anticipation. We get to a halfway point, pull into a safe, secure place, put the car in park, turn the car off. I'll get out of the car, I'll get my guests out of the car, and then I'll let them just behold the beauty of the car. Put them back in the car, help them to adjust the steering wheel, the seat, as well as the mirrors. I'll get into the passenger side, I got the keys, put my seatbelt on, give them the keys. They start the car up, they're ready to go. That's when I'm going to ask them cash is king. I'll say something like, most of my guests on a car like this put down $5,000, $6,000. When you plan on putting down that much or a little bit more? Regardless of what they say, my response is going to be, great. If I can show you 3 benefits of putting down cash, is that something that you'll at least listen to? Great. When we get to the dealership, I'll go over those benefits. Go right up here and make a right turn. We make all right turns. The reason why we make right turns is because it's safer. Now, when we get back to the dealership, and while we're driving, I let them experience the car. I let them see and hear how quiet the car is. When we get back to the dealership, I'll bring them to the service side, and then I'm going to ask them a trial close question. A trial close question will sound something like this. Is this a vehicle you can see yourself driving over the next few years? If I get a yes to my trial close question, I know I'm on the right car. If I get a no to my trial close question, I'm going to ask them why. Sometimes it can be as simple as the color. Let's assume for right now that I got a yes to my trial close question. My next step is to introduce them to a service writer and then to give them a facilities tour. Now, when we sit down back to the desk, I offer them hospitality. Now I'm going to ask them the now commitment. Because now I know that they're ready to, they're a little apprehensive. I'm ready to get numbers. They're a little nervous. I got to calm them down all over again. I'll use my voice tone. I'll use my body language. Now I'm ready to go get them some great numbers. I'll come back. I'll thank them. Now I'm ready to present all of the numbers. And I'll share with them a lot of information. What I'd like to do is go over it first, and then at the end, give you space to ask me any questions before I ask you to choose one. I'm in closed mode at that time. Let's say I present all of the numbers, ask them to choose one. If they have an objection, I'll go over the 5 steps of overcoming objections or negotiating. Step number 1 is the 5 A's. Acknowledge, align, ask, isolate, answer, gain agreement to move forward. Second step is refocus on payments. Third step is suggest a modest adjustment. Fourth step is to get an offer and a commitment, and the 5th step is to gain agreement to move forward. So let's assume that we have a meeting of the minds and we got agreement to move forward. My next step in the process is to introduce them to finance, insurance, and leasing. Once I introduce them, my job is to transfer the confidence that the guest has in me to my FSM. While they're in the finance department, I'm getting their car cleaned up. I'm double checking. I'm making sure that it's the right VIN, the right one's getting cleaned up. Now, once the car is cleaned up, they come out of the business office. The next step is delivery. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the VIN against the paperwork to make sure that all of that coincides. Now I'll do the delivery. I'll go over the car from top to bottom, inside and out, set everything that needs to be said, show them how to do it. So the last face that they see when they drive off the lot is my smiling face in their rearview mirror. Now, the following step, the last step, is the follow-up and the follow-through. I'm going to call them, if I sell it in the morning, I'm going to call them that evening. And congratulate them again. If I sell it in the evening, I'm gonna call them the next day. I'll call them 3 days later. I'll call them 7 days later to let them know that they're gonna be receiving a survey and that we pride ourselves in doing great work. And for any reason they can't give us excellent, that I wanna make sure so I can get it taken care of. So that's the sales process. What we just talked about is the greeting, needs analysis, brand value story, vehicle selection, vehicle presentation, vehicle evaluation, the ask for cash, trial close, and the third one is facilities tour, active trade appraisal, ask for the sale, intro to FI&L, delivery, and follow through and follow up. My name is Otto Gross, I'm the director of Pohanga University. Thank you for your time. Boom. That's the expectations.